Hi guys, welcome back to exmolex. This week's video is going to end up being a Lex rants and rambles video. I just kind of want to talk about the lies that some Mormons tell about their religion and discuss why that might be. And I think a lot of ex-Mormons can probably relate to the frustration that comes from this. There are so many random little things about Mormonism that Mormons tend to not be honest about. And I'm not saying this is all Mormons, so don't jump down my throat about this. It's just based off of comments that I tend to get on a regular basis as somebody who makes videos about my experiences in the Mormon church. One of the ones that comes to mind the most, because I got several comments about it in the past week, is tithing. Not all Mormons, but some Mormons leave comments on my videos about tithing saying that tithing within the Mormon church is optional. If you're not familiar with Mormonism, the church requires members to donate 10% of their income to the church as tithing. And I use the word require purposefully. I recently made a TikTok video about this where I showed receipts from the church's website and explained that yes, it is a requirement. It's optional in the way that they're not going to kick you out of the Mormon church if you don't pay tithing, but it is required in order to go to the temple and therefore required to make it to the highest level of heaven, which is the celestial kingdom. The verbiage on the church's website says a lot of things about it being a law, about it being a debt, about it being a requirement, about how it's fire insurance because it'll ensure that you're not burned at the second coming of Christ. It's just very clear from the church's standpoint, from their official website, that if you're being honest with yourself, tithing is a requirement. And so for Mormons to make comments on my videos saying that like tithing is completely optional, I feel like that's not being intellectually honest. Some other popular ones that I tend to see a lot are when I talk about how you're required to wear garments. A lot of Mormons will be like, no, it's a choice, you don't have to wear them. But again, if you are honest with yourself and you go look at what the church and the leaders, the organization as a whole has lined out, you are supposed to wear your garments every day. You are supposed to wear your garments at any time that you can reasonably wear them. So yeah, you don't have to wear them to go swimming, but you are supposed to wear them on a day-to-day basis after you've been through the endowment ceremony. So in my personal opinion, it's dishonest for Mormons to make comments claiming that you don't have to wear them. A few other random ones that I see are Mormons claiming that they don't have to dress modestly. That one sometimes really makes me laugh because the Mormon church that I grew up in took this so very seriously that you would get talked to by your church leaders if you showed up in clothes that weren't perfectly modest. I showed a little teeny tiny bit of cleavage one time and had somebody from the bishopric talk to me about it. We were even counseled not to wear clothes that were too tight because that might show your body in a way that it would draw too much attention to yourself. I've had church members leave comments saying that Mormons are not required to go to church every Sunday. I've had them comment that it's totally fine for Mormons to get piercings and tattoos. I've even had them comment that it's okay to masturbate if you're a member of the church. There are so many things that members of the church are not being honest about when they talk about it online. I'm curious to hear what everybody's perspective is on this, whether you are an ex-member, a never member, or a current Mormon. Why are people not being completely honest about what the church expects of its members? I want to hear your guys' opinion, so please leave a comment. Here's what my perspective is on it. All of these things that members tend to lie or not be completely honest about are things that might not make the church look good. Being required to basically buy your way into heaven is not a good look. An organization being super controlling of what their members are allowed to wear or what they're not allowed to wear or what type of underwear they're required to use doesn't look very good. If I were to make a video where I said like, oh, I don't know, the Mormon church teaches that we are all supposed to try to be like Jesus and be kind and charitable. No Mormons would disagree with me about that, because that makes the church look good. But if I say anything about modesty standards or garments or tithing, I get a bunch of them being like, no, we don't do that. If you are the type of person that makes those comments, do you not see how disingenuous you're being? Aren't you also commanded to be honest in your dealings with your fellow men? How do you feel okay about telling non-members that in the Mormon church you don't have to pay tithing? Because like I said, yeah, like you can be a member and not pay your tithing, but the whole end goal of the church is supposed to be salvation and exaltation, and you can't have that if you don't pay tithing. So either you're being like really sneaky and disingenuous about it and just saying like, well, it's not technically required, or you're just straight up lying. Don't you feel like it's important to be honest about your religion that teaches that honesty is one of the 10 commandments? I fully believe that the reason that Mormons lie about their religion is because they're afraid the things they're lying about would make the church look bad. And if you're afraid that those things make the church look bad, do you on some level agree that those things might actually be bad? I don't know. I'm just curious to hear everybody's thoughts. As somebody who makes content about the Mormon church on a regular basis, I get a lot of these kinds of comments, and sometimes they really just make me think what's going through the heads of members when they say things like this. So I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say about this. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons for supporting the channel. You guys are the best. An extra special thank you to Doug Davis for supporting at the Demon tier on my Patreon. If you guys would like to support the channel, there are links to do so in the description below, as well as links to all my other social media if you want to see more content. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye!